Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I have kind of a quick colored pencil comparison, just for fun, really, because I like this type of product and it might be something that's useful for you, and it's not very expensive. It's just kind of like a fun and done type of product and project. So the product we're going to look at today are the Arteza Kids Erasable Colored Pencils. They're very affordable. They are $15.99 for a package of 48 on the Arteza website. They're 20 bucks on Amazon. These were sent to me from Arteza. They'd been asking me if there's anything I wanted to use, and I saw these and I said, you know, actually, I would be curious about these because I like the Col-Erase pencils by Prismacolor. I use them to sketch every time I do a alcohol marker artwork because they kind of disappear under my alcohol markers, but they're not so waxy that I have to worry about them damaging my alcohol marker brush tips. And they also work good under my watercolor illustrations, and I can erase them if I want to get rid of a line. So they're just kind of a really handy product to have. So I thought, well, this is nice. They come in 48 colors versus the maximum 24 that Colerase comes in. So I tend to pick a color that is gonna just kind of fade into whatever I'm drawing generally. So they sent them and we're gonna compare them today. Now I've been using the Colerase for years, never had any qualms, never really had any complaints with them, but we're gonna see how they compare to one another. So price-wise, a set of 24 of the Colerase pencils will run you around $12, $12.59 on Amazon. And a set of 12 would be $6.99, or on Blick you can get them open stock for $1.38 each, which is nice. So if you just want one or two colors, maybe you only want to draw in orange or whatever, you can just buy that color. Maybe you just want to draw in non-photo blue, you can just buy that color. So that is some flexibility that you're not going to find with the Arteza pencils. And this is the colors that you could get in Colerase, and these are the colors that come in the Arteza 48 set. So you can see it's a you know, just have more color variety there. Now I did find that the Colerase pencils seem to be a little bit brighter, but they're also really smudgy and they don't erase quite as well. So let's do a little bit of an erasing test here. I was just doing some sketching of my dog on the couch yesterday, so we can just use this paper. So I'm gonna just try to compare a couple apples to apples. So I want to show you the look of these pencils because I think they look kind of interesting and nice and kind of prettier than the Colerase ones. Because if you look, the erasers match the barrel. The barrels are triangular, so they shouldn't roll off your table as easily, but I don't know. I think they probably are about the same as a hexagonal roll-wise. But I love that the ferrules and the erasers match the pencils, or they coordinate with the pencil barrel colors. I think that's kind of neat. So let's try, let's see, do we have a pink? We do have a pink here. Let's see, maybe we could probably match it a little bit closer. Let's do those two colors right off the bat. So this is, I'll keep the Artezas over here and the Colerase over there. So light layer, light layer. Let's go over and do another layer. Now it's not exactly the same color, but I do like the feeling of the triangle grip in my hand, but that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. This is matte and this is shiny. I always find matte things just feel a little bit nicer. And now for erasing, I use the eraser that's on the Arteza. Get a really nice clean erase. And also, if I rub my fingers over it, I don't get a lot of smudging. If I do the Colerase, I think I have a little bit more ghosting, and I get, yeah, there's not too much smudging on that color. So let's try a dark color and see what we get. Let's do red. We'll do 2 layers, nothing fancy. I'm just gonna do two layers. Let's try smudging. Not much smudging. And let's try erasing. Really nice clean erase. Now let's do the red Colerase. 1 layer. We'll do 2 layers to be fair. Let's try smudging. Get quite a bit of smudging with that actually. And the erasing is not nearly as clean. Let's try the Arteza eraser over the Colerase. No, it's still not getting as clean. Now if you look at that versus that, getting a much cleaner erase on the Artezas versus the Col-Erase. Very clean. And that was something I immediately noticed after swatching the Artezas. I got super clean erasures, and I got really stained paper with that. Now, in use, that's never really bothered me. I guess I've never really erased too much, but I've never drawn hard. Maybe I probably just don't draw as hard as I would if I'm swatching it out. So it never became a problem. So I wouldn't say necessarily go and buy these if you already have Col-Erase. But if you're trying to decide between the two, I would probably go for Arteza. But if you already have the Col-Erase, I mean, are you really going to need 48 colors? I think the 48 colors is going to be better if you've got like a kid that's maybe getting to the age where they don't want to color outside the lines and they get upset if they do. Then, you know, you have a variety of colors you could erase back, but you're not going to get the color payout with an erasable pencil that you would with a traditional color pencil. Now, just for fun, I think it might be interesting to take an Arteza color pencil and a Prismacolor color pencil, because Col-Erase are made by Prismacolor. These Arteza Erasables are made by Arteza, and swatch them out and see which does better. So this is a red Arteza. I'm sure that would be, reds I think would be tend to stain more anyway, so we'll just go with them just to see. And this is a red Prismacolor. So let's just do, oh, it just feels so much better than the color payout is so much nicer in a regular colored pencil than an erasable one. I definitely don't recommend them for adult coloring. I would recommend them for kids coloring if they want to be able to erase, but not for adult coloring. You're just not going to have the color payoff. I mean, just look at that with one layer. Just really, well, I'm not really lightly layering. I am giving it a little pressure, but so much nicer and brighter. All right, let's blow off any crumbs. Let's smudge. Isn't that funny? The Prismacolor is actually smudging less than the Prismacolor Col-Erase. And the Arteza's not smudging much. Now, there's been several variations of Artezas floating around, so I just want to say that because I've got two sets of colored pencils from them, and they're both different, and they're both a regular colored pencil. I'm going to use, let's just use an electric eraser without turning it on. Okay. And I'll do that. I'm going to use a clean side. So they erase pretty similarly to one another. Let's do with the turning it on. Actually, I think that smudges it more than anything. Yeah, they're definitely both staining the paper. And we could try the Arteza eraser just because those worked really well with the Arteza erasable pencils. Yeah, they're not moving any of that stained pencil, but yeah, I think definitely for erasability, the Arteza erasables are the winner, and plus they just look nice. And another thing I wanted to mention is the way they're packaged. Now the package is long gone for these Col-Erase because they're just a flimsy cardboard, like papery, like very thin cardboard packaging that, like, you know, that bottoms always fall out, and they would not be suitable for kids to bring back and forth to school. They would fall out and break. Something like this, actually, this has a foam layer in the bottom, which is really nice. So when you drop your pencils back in, they're gonna be cushioned a little bit, and they're not gonna move around too much in the canister. I don't know why more pencil companies don't package like this, because it's so, it's gotta be pretty inexpensive, I would think, but it protects the pencils so well. They don't jostle around when they're being shipped. And yet very few pencils package like this. The Art and Fly 48 set would come packaged like this. Maybe they can only do 48s like this, but I love this type of packaging. It's not as convenient when you want to use them. You'd have to kind of dump them out and put them in a tray or something. But as far as compact storage and shipping, I think these are a winner, and there's not a lot of waste there. And a lot of people, when they buy pencils, they end up putting them in a case or in some sort of storage anyway. So I would think something like this would just be cheaper to ship, protect the pencils more, and especially for kids, a kid could throw this in their backpack, and even if it gets banged around all day, they're not going to shift much because they're all bundled together really closely, so they can't, you know, they can't jostle around as much as they would in like a tin where the tin lid might come open, or a box where the box might come open, or just loosen a big pencil box. The only downside I could see would be maybe a kid trying to get the lid on this, because it is a little tricky because it is a really tight fitting lid, that it might be a little tricky for a kid to get that back on there. But the only other thing I wanted to test would be, let's see if they move with water, because if you want to use these with watercolor on top, you might not want them moving very much. So I actually did these little sketches of my dog, and I thought, well, why don't I just add some watercolor to them? This isn't watercolor paper, by the way, this is drawing paper, but I think for the purpose of this, it will be fine to test. I'll use a water brush here to make it even easier. So let's do a little yellow ochre. Add quite a bit of water. Oh, good. My lines are not moving at all. Granted, this is drawing paper, not watercolor paper, but this drawing paper isn't half bad for watercolor, though. Yep, my lines are not moving. Now, of course, this is just sketching. It's not like I didn't like do any really, I didn't do any, you know, thick coloring or anything, but yeah, that's definitely going to be fine for me to use under watercolor. Yeah, that'll be fine under watercolor. There's no movement there. Now let's try it under marker and see how that works. I gotta grab a couple, I'm just gonna randomly grab a few shades of brown, a few different brands just to give it a whirl. I don't even know how this paper is gonna work, but let's start with, you know, I'm not gonna use a dark color because then we'll be able to see if it's going to smudge. I'll use a brush tip because that's what I usually use. This is not good marker paper. Yeah, this is not good marker paper, but it's softening the lines a little bit, just like Colerase does. But it's not blending out and being a nuisance or anything. So, yeah, I think they're going to be pretty comparable for either. Yeah, definitely useful with either type of. And see, this is what I like about the alcohol markers. Actually, I don't know if you can see this, but can you see how colored pencil softens under alcohol markers because the alcohol dissolves the wax. So it makes your lines just kind of fade away into nothing, which I really like. And then with the watercolor, it just doesn't bleed out, and I like that too. Some people like to draw with watercolor pencils so that it does completely bleed out, but I don't like to lose all of my drawing right off the bat. Oh yeah, well, we can also just add a little water to these swatches just to see if they do anything. I'm just going to wipe my brush on my jeans here. I don't think the Colerase will because, oh, maybe a little bit. Huh. They actually do not enough, I don't know, they move a little bit with water, but it's never been enough to bother me in a painting, so that's interesting though. I'll be really curious to see if the Arteza does. So yeah, some of those colors do move with water, and they do smudge with your finger. But the way I use it, just sketching, it's never really been a problem, but I just wanted to do it because I know some people will ask. No movement there. Trying to go where I'll be able to see if there's movement. Nothing there. Wow, these are pretty water resistant as well. Yeah, these are a little more water resistant too. They erase cleaner. They're more water resistant. At least this version that I have as of February 21st, 2022. I just got them in the mail 2 days ago, so they are current. Okay, yeah. So my final verdict on these would be if you've got a kid who likes to color, wants to stay within the lines, maybe he's a little fussy about that sort of thing, I would probably use these with a better quality paper like adult coloring books have versus the newsprint because I don't know how well that would, these might tear those up. They're kind of on the hard side. That could be a fit for them. They also sharpen really well and they appear to be, I'm just going to go ahead and sharpen. Let's see, what's always a problematic color? I don't know. Green. I guess my greens tend to be the ones that break if something's going to break. So let's try that. These are a triangular barrel, but they'll fit in your regular sharpener. So you don't want to sharpen it to a needle point though, because the tip did snap off of that at a needle point. Now coloring with pressure, that's about all you're going to get. You're not going to get a super huge color payout like you would with like a Prismacolor Premier. But they erase so cleanly, and I really have nothing negative to say about these, except I personally wouldn't use them for coloring in artworks. I would use them for sketching. And yeah, they're meant for kids. They're not even meant for adult artists. I would say if you already had Colerase pencils for like sketching your underdrawings, you don't need these. But if you were thinking you wanted to get something like that for sketching your underdrawings, I would say I prefer the Arteza Erasables to the Colerase. I will put some links in the video description. These are cheaper on the Arteza website by about $4 versus Amazon today. That could change. I always recommend you try both places. On Blick, the Colerase pencils are cheaper than on Amazon, and you can get them open stock if you just want to replace a color. I honestly have had these for years, and I use them almost under every watercolor and marker drawing. I definitely have under every marker drawing. And I mean, I barely made a dent in these, so you're not going to go through them too quick in either case. So just keep that in mind. The only one I had with a breakage issue of the Colerase were brown, but I mean, they could have been shipped. Weird. I don't know. Yeah, they're both good. They're both comparable. I'd give the edge to the Arteza. But if you have one, you don't need the other, I guess, bottom line. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy these little comparison videos. And until next time, happy crafting!